Hello, everybody. Listen, we are here to talk about Married at First Sight, episode 1, season 20. Things are really different this season. And just to let you know, I have done recaps before on another channel, but I ended up turning that channel into something else. So we are starting fresh right here. Married at First Sight, season 20, episode 1. And let me tell you, things are different this year. All right. First off, one thing that's different is that the older experts are no longer there. So the experts that we are all used to, that we have come to know and love, are no longer there. So they're definitely switching it up on us. Not only are the experts different, but the show has moved to Peacock. This time there are 7 couples instead of the usual 5. Also, listen, one thing off the bat that I already noticed with this episode that I was like, wait, something feels a little different is that it moved a lot faster. I have been used to skipping the first 2 episodes of Married at First Sight because you have to go through all the wedding dress try-ons, the picking the people. I don't want to see all of that. Like, I just be wanting to get right to the stuff. And that's one thing that I absolutely loved about this episode is that the premiere moved a lot faster, spending less times on traditions like the extensive wedding dress shopping and getting to the matches, parties, all the shenanigans that we know and love. It got right to it in that first episode, which I absolutely enjoyed that. It seems like from, so far, the new experts seem more willing to confront people during the casting. But the bigger question is whether they are actually rejecting unsuitable applicants, because Paul, was calling out the people, honey, but they were still picked. So, that's a side note. Okay. We're going to see what's really going on with that. I appreciate the new experts asking the harder questions, but asking the question means nothing if you hear the red flags and still hand them wives. Okay. So anyway, all right, so let's talk about Felipe really quickly. He is introduced. He's 29. He's originally from Brazil and owns a restaurant. He's very outgoing. He's social, heavily connected to the nightlife. Honey, he loves to be out late at night. All right. The episode definitely makes his partying a major part of his introduction as an issue. And Felipe has reportedly been unavailable or late during portions of the casting process because expert Paul actually mentioned that. I love the fact that he called him out about it. In that same conversation, he also said, "You have been chosen for us to give you a wife," which was weird to me. But Felipe ended up telling Paul that he was late to the casting calls or the casting meetings or whatever because he was partying the night before. So we already see, like, how serious is he really? I mean, did they not have anybody else to choose? Did they feel like, well, Felipe is all we got, so we just gonna have to move forward with him? That is what it's giving. But Felipe says that he wants a wife and he believes he is capable of changing his habits once he's married. I don't know. I guess it depends on how connected he is to the nightlife. I feel like it's understandable for some people to like go out a lot, but they really don't want to go out. So it's going to be easy for them to calm down once they get that partner. But Felipe seems like he really enjoys it. So I'm curious to see if he is in fact able to settle down a bit once he gets his wife. Now, I will say that Felipe may sincerely want a wife, but wanting a wife is not the same as already living like someone who has the room for one. It is a drastic change. If you weren't gradually making those changes already, getting yourself prepared for what you wanted in the future. Does that make sense? So that is going to be super interesting. My main question is, will Felipe naturally change because he loves being married? Or would his wife eventually become the person reminding him to come home and wake up and honor his commitments? And, you wanted this, to where to him, it could start to feel like nagging, which is not nagging. You expect to be getting prepared or paired, sorry, with someone who you would expect to be getting paired with someone who is ready for a marriage. So I'm really, really curious on how that's going to be. So Felipe's match is going to be Tori. Now, Tori is 32. She works in marketing for Microsoft. She is social, accomplished. She loves traveling and entertaining. She's even saved for her dream trip to Italy because she wants to experience that with her future husband. She's even saved her dream trip to Italy because she wants to experience that with her future husband. First off, Italy is beautiful. I went with my husband. Super amazing. We have to go back. Yes, that's a side note, but I love Italy. She says that she wants a committed traditional partnership and appears ready to intentionally build a life with someone. The experts definitely believe that Tori and Felipe could complement one another. I'm hoping that's the case. Tori, honey, is absolutely beautiful. She looks like a girl who really wants to keep herself together. I wasn't really sure how she was going to be attracted to him, or if she was, but she did make a comment at the wedding that she really found him attractive. And of course, he was like head over heels for her when he first saw her. So I'm happy that, she definitely liked what she saw. So that was really good. One thing that I'm a little worried about is I just don't want it to be like Tori is being brought in to balance Felipe. She's being brought in to change him, because that's not why I would go on Married at First Sight. I would never go on Married at First Sight, but I'm definitely not wanting to go on there to already be trying to change somebody. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I'm a little worried about. Every season, like the experts say, one person will balance the other, but somehow that often means a responsible woman is being assigned extra work. You know what I'm saying? And I don't just want to put it on the women. Sometimes it's the other way around, where the responsible man is having to do extra work, and it's all about one party fixing the other, one party dealing with the other's BS. You know what I'm saying? So then, side quest, the episode then goes to where the singles are together and they're meeting each other. The episode briefly introduces us to the larger group, and we meet all of everyone that's about to be paired. Now, for this scene, one thing that really stood out to me was Adam. Adam seemed like someone who loves to be the center of attention. He started telling the guys, about his jet skis and all of this. He seems to definitely be someone who is super disciplined, like very intense, to wanting to focus on, working out, his health, doing activities, and doesn't really seem like a person that can be moved. So I don't really know if he is somebody who should be on Married at First Sight. Like, if you are very specific about what you want, if you have qualities that you are not willing to move on, and they are basically every quality, then I don't think you should be going on Married at First Sight. Anyway, so he's with the guys. He, kind of, to me, it kind of looked like flaunting, because he was doing a lot. And it felt like he wanted to be the center of attention. He really feels himself. All right. Then he tells everybody he knows how to play the piano. He gets on the piano and now he's playing a long song. One of the other guys, I forgot who said that, but he was like, all right, we want to hear you play the piano, but dang, not the whole song. Adam does not sound like he wants to build a new lifestyle with his wife. He sounds more so like he's already designed his life and now he's like interviewing people to join what he has going on versus like meshing together and building a life together. You know what I'm saying? I just want to go ahead and get to Bella Jolie and Mecca. They are two of the singles who are matched. Bella Jolie and Mecca are both 28 and they share creative interests. They both have complicated family histories. And they desire to, have stability because they weren't raised with a lot of stability. So they really hope to come together and build that stability for their own family. So, Bella Jolie is a singer-songwriter who has experienced a broken engagement. She wants a marriage but carries understandable concerns about trust, emotional security, and being disappointed again. Mecca works in a sanitation Mecca works in sanitation and also has interest in fashion, modeling, and creative work. He discusses family instability as well and how his experiences has shaped his desire to create the healthier family dynamic. All right. Now, the experts think that they're going to work together because they both grew up with instability. I'm hoping that wasn't the main part because I don't think you should just put two people together because they both know what it feels like to be raised with uh, families that weren't stable or be raised in an environment that wasn't stable. I can understand how that can be a positive thing in terms of like if both people want to do things differently, then they'll work to make sure that their family is different than what they had growing up. That could work that way. Or it could work like the opposite, and one or both of them can bring that instability to their own family, depending on how healed they are and how much they've worked through that trauma, in my opinion. But again, the experts believe that their shared creativity, humor, and emotional histories could help them understand one another. Now, let's get to Bella Jolie. Her mom was there. It seems like her and her mom have a beautiful relationship. Now, again, this first episode, I'm just going to really breeze by only the highlights. One thing that I noticed about Bella Jolie, love her dimples, beautiful girl. I absolutely hated that rainbow necklace, that rainbow colored. Not from Rainbow, but it could have been. It definitely was not. No. Like, I don't think she should have done the big gaudy necklace, but if she was going to do that, it definitely did not to be. But if she was going to do that, it definitely did not need to be like multicolors. To me, that really threw it off and it made it look very tacky. She's too beautiful for that. I think it took away from how beautiful the dress could have been. But yeah, that was something that definitely stood out like a sore thumb to me on the screen. You guys tell me what you think of it. Listen, if you think it was beautiful, I'm not saying she didn't look beautiful in it. I'm just saying I felt like it was a little too much. All right. So don't come for me. All right. Now, Mecca's father was there. His name is Logic. He immediately establishes himself as a very commanding personality. Now, when his father first came in there, his father was a nice looking man. He looked younger, like possibly he had Mecca at a younger age. The father definitely looks nice, was dressed nice, but his father loves the attention. I didn't really think it was all that bad until they actually got to the wedding and Mecca's father decided to stand up while they were both up there about to kiss, or I forgot what was happening. But in the middle of the wedding, while they were still at the altar, Mecca's father stood up and said something, made a speech. Hold on, let me actually see what he said. Okay, I can't find exactly what he says, but girl, just picture the father stood up and said something that didn't need to be said. It wasn't like, he just made like a funny comment, but he did not need to stand up. Now, that made me a little bit worried about a couple of things. First off, it made me think, is the father going to be super annoying to their relationship? Does Mecca create boundaries? It looks like Mecca still listens to his father a lot in terms of not knowing what's nonsense and what is. I'm really curious about him and his father's relationship, like the real deal, not just the surface level, because his father made a comment like, if she kisses you on the cheek, she's weak. And if she gives you tongue, she's sprung. And Bella Jolie didn't kiss him in the mouth. She did a cheek kiss. And Mecca let that make him think that Bella Jolie didn't like him. So Mecca didn't know how to separate what his father was saying from that moment. To me, that was interesting. Like, oh, wait, you're still thinking about that funny joke your dad made? I took it as a joke, but Mecca took it as a serious thing. Like, if she doesn't kiss me or give me tongue, then she not sprung. Some silly. To me, it was extremely silly. So that has me a little worried. Another thing that I noticed is that Mecca had his nails painted black. Anyway, let's see what we have next here. Adam. Yes. So let's go back to Adam. So let's go to Paul visiting Adam before he tells Adam that he has been chosen. So Paul asks him direct questions about his recent dating life. He's like, when's the last time you went on a date? Adam was telling him that he, had a girl there not too long ago. And then Paul asked him, how many times did you go out with the girl? Adam tells him about 5. And that prompts Paul to basically say, oh, so she's probably waiting on a 6th date. Basically like, oh, so you have like somebody dangling by when you're about to get married and you have made a commitment to be committed to someone that you don't know, yet there's somebody who doesn't even know they're no longer an option. Because, after the show ends, you always have the girlfriends or the people coming out saying, we were talking and then like a week later, I stopped hearing from him. And all of a sudden, we were talking and then like a week later, I stopped hearing from him. And then he's about to get married. You know what I'm saying? Like messy stuff like that. So Adam minimizes their connections and he says that it's definitely casual. They don't see each other regularly and it would be weird for him to call, because Paul actually tells Adam like, all right, well, call her and let her know that you're about to be married, just so you don't even have that lingering. So Adam calls and basically the sentiments are, I don't think the girl was not serious, okay? Because she seemed like she was a little upset about it. And then Adam says, oh, I didn't know that, she liked me like that. And, I love animals and she doesn't even love animals. So I didn't really see her as somebody that I would take serious and so forth and so forth. So to me already, I feel like he's playing games. So Adam is matched with 30-year-old Marissa, a program manager who wants an emotionally mature, dependable partner. I mean, Adam definitely seems dependable, emotionally mature. I don't know. But she is presented as someone looking for stability and a man who can match the life she has already created. The experts, they do believe, though, that Adam's discipline is the type of steadiness that Marissa wants. I'm not sure if she wants his type of discipline, though. When they are waiting to meet each other at the altar, I don't know if they've done this before. I feel like I kind of seen it before, where they give each other a gift. So Adam gave Marissa a few gifts, like things that had to do with things that he loves. And then Marissa gave Adam a gift, and a part of it was like a shot of, I think Dragon Ball or whatever the drink is that kind of tastes like cinnamon. And then his first thing was like, oh, I don't drink. That's a red flag. And it's like, dude, Like he's already like his Adam's girl has to be perfect for him not to see any issue. Whatever his type of perfect is, she has to be that. And then what I'm thinking is there's a gap between the type of man that the experts describe Adam as and the man we saw through his interaction with Paul. Because again, they describe Adam as loyal, committed, and stable. But then we watch him talk about an active situationship and struggle to communicate directly with the other woman about what was going on. So I'm confused. I'm very confused. So towards the end of the episode, let me mention also. I also forgot to mention that Adam's family will not be there. I think his parents had a overseas trip and he called them and wanted them to come, and they were not going to end their trip to come for him. And I think his grandmother did not want to fly. I don't know. What do you guys think that means? I've heard a few opinions on what that could mean. I don't know yet. I've heard people say that, it could mean his family aren't supportive people like that, which is why he kind of seems he's not very supportive and he kind of does whatever he wants to do and doesn't put himself to the side for the betterment of someone else. I don't know. I didn't think of that at first. I kind of assume, like, for instance, if you never told your parents that you were going on Married at First Sight and you didn't know you were going to get picked, and your parents had a trip planned for like a year and their trip has come, they've already left, then you out of nowhere tell them, oh, I'm getting married tomorrow. I joined this show called Married at First Sight. Would I leave my trip for that? I don't know. It depends on how much the flight costs and how quickly I can get back to my vacation. I don't know. I can understand it not being possible. But I'm gonna sit on that. You guys let me know what you think about that. Now, also because Adam's family isn't there, he has, I think it was his friend's girlfriend walking him down. I don't know about that. I mean, he could have walked by himself. I don't know if they told him that he had to have somebody to walk him down, but because it was his homeboy's girlfriend, right? Wasn't it his friend's girlfriend? I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know if they told him he absolutely had to have somebody walk down with him. I don't know if that was why, but I think he could have walked by himself, because if it isn't like someone who's blood related, then I don't think they should be walking you down the aisle. But I also don't think Adam is super serious about this. So I'm not surprised that he wouldn't see that as an issue, because he's not taking this serious. I mean, let's see if he is. Let's see if I'm wrong. So the episode comes to an end. Marissa walks down the aisle, and the last thing we hear is, oh my gosh, I know him. All right. So we don't know if they've dated before. I don't know. Adam to me seems like one of the guys that probably gets around, probably flaunts what he has. He's that guy that like he'll randomly start to talk about what he has when nobody asked him. I could see him being in a lot of rooms trying to get a lot of women's attention. And maybe she's like a party girl, so maybe she's heard about him. Maybe he even did her dirty. I don't know. Like maybe they had a one night stand and he never answered again. I don't know. I'm really curious to see how in the world do they know each other. It definitely would suck if you walk down the aisle, you're on Married at First Sight, thinking you're going to marry a stranger, and it's someone that you told yourself you would never talk to again. That would be horrible. So basically, just to make my first episode assessment, honestly, you all, I know a lot of people feel like Bella, Jolie, and Mecca are promising. I honestly feel like Tori and Felipe may be more promising. Let me tell you why I feel like Tori and Felipe may be more promising. Because even though Felipe said that he's willing to change his life for his wife in terms of him going out all night, and, in certain situations that could be like, oh, that's not going to work because, there's going to be an issue there. They're going to be complaining. There's no way that you could just switch the light switch and become this different person who doesn't like to go out when you always go out. I honestly feel that Tori is such a baddie to him that she may be able to get him to do it. Honestly, I think that Tori, if anybody could make him slow down the way he reacted with her, I think she'll be the one to do it. So thank you so much for listening to this quick recap of Married at First Sight, the first episode of season 20 with the new experts. I'm really liking the way that it's going so far in terms of how it seems like Paul is not playing no games with these people. But you guys, let me know, which couple are you concerned about the most? Let me know in the comments down below. We will be doing all the episodes this season. I know this is our first video on this channel. Don't worry, you all. I am going to keep going. Maybe my husband will join us sometimes. The reviews we've done in the past on other channels, we did Married at First Sight back in the day when Chris was there. Did really, really well, got a lot of views on there. And that was the last time we did any type of reviews. So we want to start it back up. So trust in us. Go ahead and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about this episode, and we'll talk soon. Bye.